Hi, this is Natalie Rydstrom from SBR Picks. Domestic football is taking a break whilst players focus on their international duties. So this gives us a chance to reflect on news that's hitting the headlines this week and how they may or may not affect the odds. Joining us now to lead the discussion is William Hill's betting pundit and all-round football fan, Lee Phelps. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Natalie.
Now, the big headline today is that the era of Barcelona's famous tiki-taka style of play is over, according to Guillem Balague, and that there is a new style of play under Luis Enrique. Can you expand here?
Well, I suppose you just have to look at the results, don't you? I mean, incredible start, almost perfect start to the La Liga season for them. You know, in the games so far, they've had one draw and the rest have been wins. 6 wins, 1 draw, scored 19 goals, conceded big fat 0. I mean, that's incredible. To not concede a goal so far is amazing. You know, all right, maybe they haven't played the best teams just yet, but still fantastic. I mean, you fluke a goal in. So it does seem that they've obviously adopted a much more defensive style, and they know that with the quality they've got up front, they've still got Suarez to come back into the team, that they're going to blow teams away. Even if the teams try and keep it tight with them for a long time, they'll get the goal eventually. I mean, to be fair, I suppose even in the kind of the tiki-taka kind of, you know, regime, if you like, that was how they played anyway. They didn't give much away. They just sat in, they passed the ball around, waited for the other team to tire out. And it's amazing during that era, if you looked at the goal, when they scored a goal, when a team set up defensively against Barcelona and they just set up to frustrate them, Barcelona would invariably score between the 60th and 70th minutes. The amount of goals that Messi got, and it must be that maybe the team's concentrated well for one half. They've gone in at half time. They've come out, and after 15 minutes of the second half, they just start to lose control and lose concentration a little bit. Now, it's not dissimilar to that now. You know, we've seen some games where, I mean, at the weekend they only won 2-0. Barcelona got the job done. Nice and easy. The opposition, Real Madrid, had 2 men sent off in the second half, so they could have. You'd have thought maybe they could extend the lead, but 2-0 was good enough. Messi scored 6 in 7. Neymar scored 7 in 7. I mean, and Luis Suarez to come. It's not bad, is it? You know, you change your system and you just don't concede goals. The interesting thing was the one game that they drew was against Malaga. It was 0-0, and it was the first time since 2003, 2004. That Barcelona hadn't had a shot on target in a La Liga game. Incredible stat. And it's incredible that they didn't have a shot on target for a start. But Malaga found a way to frustrate them. And it worked that night. So, 1-0, the rest have been wins and looking good.
Would you say this is going to improve Barca's chances to win the title? They're priced 1.91, with second candidate for the title, Real Madrid, priced 2.2, kind of pretty much right behind them.
Yeah, I mean, I went with Real Madrid to win the title this year. I just thought they would be stronger and be more together than Barcelona. Well, I mean, it depends how Suarez fits in, doesn't it? Because Suarez traditionally through his career, when he started at a new club, his first season has been his least effective season, if you like. He still scored goals, obviously, his class. But you wonder if him going into that team will disrupt things. He's not a disruptive player. I know that sounds daft because he's obviously got some issues in his former days. Obviously, they must be all behind him now, according to Barcelona. But you wonder it might disrupt the pattern of play. I think the problem with Real Madrid has been that they've been unbalanced because it's almost like they've had too much attacking threat and they've looked unbalanced. Well, the last thing Barcelona need at the minute is to unbalance this side. So it wouldn't be a big surprise if Suarez just was eased back in. I mean, everyone's expecting him to start in El Clasico, and that'll be his reintroduction to football. But why would you break up this team that's not conceding goals? It's won 6 out of 7. Scored 19, conceded none, top of the table. I wouldn't be breaking that up too soon. Look, Barcelona look a good bet at the moment because they're playing so well. I think Real Madrid will continue to do what they do, which is just steamroller teams out of the way. I mean, they started off quite poorly. Since they lost to Atletico in La Liga, they've won 4 on the spin. And the aggregate score is 20 goals to 3 in those 4 games. Ronaldo scored 3 hat-tricks. He scored 11 goals in 4 La Liga games. It's just remarkable. James Rodriguez is scoring goals. So is Hernandez. So is Bale. Real Madrid have already scored more than Barcelona. The goal difference is already better. I think they'll close Barcelona down. I'm going to go with Real Madrid at the price because they're just too good a team to ignore at a price like that, in my opinion. And I know they've got a points advantage over them, Barcelona, but I think Real Madrid have got more firepower when they get going.
Well, it's interesting here. We talk about Ronaldo because there is noise in the news that Ronaldo may possibly transfer to Manchester United or a Premier League team in the next transfer window. With Bale saying, "quote He's obviously a player we wouldn't want to see leave. Of course, I want to see him stay at Real Madrid." Now they say there is no smoke without fire. Any team that could afford him would want him in their squad. What's your view on this?
Well, you mentioned Guillem Balague at the start of this piece, and I've seen him on Twitter say that he will go and play for Manchester United again one day. I'd be absolutely amazed if he went in the next transfer window. I can't see him going, in January at all. He's got this opportunity to do something as a player that no other player has done with a club, and that's retain the Champions League. They won the 10th, which is amazing. Now retaining it again, that's better than Barcelona, better than Bayern Munich. No one's done that. Man United have never done that. I think he'd want to do that first, and whether they do it or not, I think maybe in the summer, that might be the time he goes. But I'd be stunned if he went in the January transfer window. Stranger things have happened, obviously, but I think he'll do it at least one more full season at Real Madrid and then move on. By the way, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously Bale would say that he doesn't want him to leave, but I think if Ronaldo did go, Bale would suddenly assume the top dog status there, and I think we'd be looking at Bale as being maybe getting the Ballon d'Or, Player of the Year in the next year or so. As soon as Ronaldo goes, then Gareth Bale becomes the number one at Real Madrid. So I don't think he'd cry too much if Ronaldo moved.
No, I know. But let's just say he does transfer early next year. Would it impact Real Madrid's chances of winning?
Yeah, because you're taking out so many goals. But then I think Real Madrid would just move Bale into his position. I think he would score as many. He might not score as many goals as Ronaldo, because Ronaldo is, obviously one of the greatest players we've ever seen. I'm not sure Bale's quite that level. He may well reach that level. He's got the potential. And you go get James Rodriguez will have had another season under his belt as well, and I'm sure they will have brought. If he goes and they get money for him, they will be able to bring other players in. So it's not like suddenly they're going to be bereft of players. It would affect the chances. It would affect the club, I think, because losing a player of that stature would have an impact on anyone. But I don't think it would be a huge problem for them. I think they'd still challenge for La Liga. Whether they challenge for the Champions League as well is another matter, though.
Well, moving on here, taking a look at the rest of the La Liga news, is there anything that has stood out to you this week that's worth mentioning before we close the show?
Well, just in general, I'm interested in Atletico Madrid. It's kind of like that. It's quite a second season syndrome in the Premier League when teams come up from the Championship and do well, and they have that second season. I'm just looking at Atletico Madrid now, lost at the weekend, 3-1, big defeat that for such a defensively strong team. Obviously not. I mean, I thought they would finish in the top three. I still do think they'll finish in the top three in La Liga. It's very difficult to back it up though. I don't think they've really replaced the players they lost last season with the equal quality players this season. Now, it's all based around team spirit and the ethic of working hard and doing your job correctly. And you see in the Champions League, they do that. You just wonder if maybe if Simeone's got his eye more on the Champions League than the league title, and maybe he's thought to himself, this is going to be very tough retaining the league title. Maybe they put all their eggs in the European basket. I think that's one to watch and just keep an eye on, because there's a few little murmurs coming out that just for the first time that there may be a tiny bit of unrest around the Atletico Madrid camp. And that's what happens, isn't it? Success breeds, expectation, and then it becomes more and more difficult to achieve your goals. So I think that's just like a bit of a watching brief for me. But yeah, just reading some of the stuff online, it's going to be interesting to chart Atletico's progress this season.
And how far do you think that they can actually make it in the Champions League? Can they make it all of the way?
Yeah, I think they could actually. I mean, I think they've got more of a chance in the Champions League than La Liga. I just think the way they set up, it's just so hard to play against. It's very difficult. I mean, they're so good, they're so organised. I watched both the games so far and just seeing how solid they are. And, that is the key. Look, unless you're going to be like a Bayern Munich, of a few years ago, or the way Real Madrid kind of, scored their way, absolute quality world-class players will win you the Champions League. If you haven't got that, though, what wins you the Champions League is a very strong defensive, unit, and a team who doesn't concede many goals, who has the quality to go up the other end and score goals. A little bit like when, Mourinho won it with Inter Milan and Chelsea's Chelsea team and so on and so forth, who've done well and got quite far. Winning it might be a step too far, but I see Atletico Madrid in the semi-finals at the very least.
All right, wonderful. Well, that wraps things up for our La Liga headlines this week. Lee Phelps, thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
The SBR network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.